It's just, it's so draining. But you can go ahead and explain peer potential for sure.
So yeah, for sure. You see, I get back into the TV part later on because like you didn't touch that, but we're gonna get back there. But it's pure potential. The podcast, I would have had it like, to be honest with y'all, like I would have had it be pure potential, but it wasn't on Instagram. So like I needed something synonymous like across all the boards. So it's like when I'm like, hey, go follow me or go check out my, you know, the audio or the video, like you can go to Pure Potential, but it was obviously taken. So Pure Potential, the podcast, and so I think that that's what we all share. It's like we are somewhat visionaries, and so when I had the idea of Pure Potential, honestly, I looked at it and what it started as was like a lifestyle. I call it like I really felt that it was like something that's just on the journey, like the journey of just life and just what does it really mean to be a human being. And so, you know, I feel like being a human being is so complex. Like it's like so many like things that go into it. But the one thing that like led me to here and why I'm doing this is really just during my time of like consuming like media, right? For at first it started off as just like really just audibles. Like it was going through a time where you had this feeling like you like I want shit to change so bad. I want shit to change so bad. Like I'm a person that's like that. So I'm like, what is it so that it's like I can like get some change? Like I need to hear something. I need to like, you know, read something. Like it's something that like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's something missing where it's like, all right, cool. So it's like one thing I realized that helped me a lot was hearing other people's stories. And so one of the best audibles I say like you gotta go listen to is Bernie Mac's. I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna say it at the end, but it's one of his audibles and it's in his voice and his voice too, and it's funny. But it's talking about his life story, and it's like you see certain things that are like you know similar to your story or just different, but it's also just seeing how they also are human being too, like those folks that like gotten to where they are, whatever the case is. But then I went to like just the YouTube interviews. I feel like every guy, like, if you go to their crib, they're always watching YouTube, like, videos. If it's not interviews, it's gonna be music videos, it's gonna be something. So, a minute, like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Interviews always been there, but, like, I feel like when it came to, like, in college and university, like, I really feel like anytime you go to someone's house, like, that's what was on. It was YouTube. If it wasn't, I came in here, you had YouTube video, like, the baby, it was like, you see what I'm saying? It's just YouTube, like, and I think that was our era. So like YouTube was our era and everything. But what I'm trying to say is like I was hearing the stories of people where it's just like famous, not famous, but I just knew how much stories are very powerful. And everyone has a story, right? So I just got to the point where I'm like, all right, during the pandemic, I was doing a lot of like inner work, like shadow work, just being with myself. And I felt like I never really had that because I've always been surrounded by people. If I didn't live in a household that was always full with aunties, little cousins, this and that, I didn't never have my own room until like really college. And then so it's like in college, I still was cool, but I had roommates and we was always together or we was like always doing stuff. It wasn't until the pandemic that like I actually had a chance to like really sit with myself. And so I feel like during that time I was consuming a lot of podcasts and it was Jay Shetty that I actually came across. But we can get into like who kind of inspired us or whatever the case is. But like that was someone I was like really like I love to hear his because the people he was bringing on or the conversations that he was having even with himself was things that I feel was helping like it was helping me not like necessarily professionally or anything like that, but personally, like in terms of like my spirituality or just like things that I wanted to just be better at as a human being. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly what you want need to hear.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, okay, like and that's where the name Pure Potential just kind of comes from. It started from I think Deepak Chopra. If I butchered his name, I'm sorry, but I think he was talking about it's one of his laws, but it's like law of pure potentiality. It's like you are able, as human beings, we're able to do so many different things, but we're not we're limitless. Like we can do anything we really want to, like, and so we can manifest whatever the case is. And that's how I looked at it, where it's like, okay, like this is your story. How do you want to create your story? And so that's why I'm like, okay, like the people I'm bringing on is like, what's your story? Like, what do you see for yourself? And like, what have you gone through? And like, you know what I'm saying? What have you learned from this? And it's like, I feel like it can help someone else. So that's really how it came to be what it is today. So, and that's what I continue to want to do. And, you know,
I need to get on your podcast.
Yeah.
I will talk. Cause I ain't gonna lie, like those questions, like what's your story is a great question. Cause it's like, what's your story? What's your purpose? what do you want to do in life? And it's like, for you to even have those questions, like, I definitely, I checked out, like, two episodes before we even did all of this, because, you know, I got to definitely see a gist of yours and a gist of yours, of course. And that's like, because you're definitely, I understand the peer potential, like, your friend, whoever you brought in, trying to see their potential, what they got going on. And that's solid. That's very solid.